so 2 p.m. Let's do a roll call vote. Bridget,
Here.
Andrew, you're muted. Andrew,
Oh, sorry. Here. Sorry, damn you.
Sarah,
Here.
and Deb is here. Okay. So our first order of business is public comment. Is there anybody waiting? Megan, I'm not sure who's in the background here. Is it Megan? Are you host?
There's
Yes, I can
only-
change host if necessary. No one has their hand up right now, but let me check one more time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking too. There's only 5 attendees and no one's got their hand up.
Okay, so it is public comment now. So if there's anybody in the audience who would like to give public comment, please raise your hand and somebody will let you in. Andrew, you can do that.
I can do that, and there are no hands raised right now.
Okay, so moving right along then. Our next order of business is relinquish Southeast Campus School. So Dr. Z got an email that she forwarded to me from Dave Zomek. Dr. Z, do you want to speak to this? Or Shannon?
Sure. I thought we were gonna do the budget next, so we're rearranging.
Oh,
it.
is that next? I
Yes.
don't.
Yeah, I think that's what is next. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're right. I skipped right over it. Yes, thank you. So Dr. Z or Shannon, would you please do the budget, please?
Sure, I'll start off. So we were given a series of directives from the school committee that was voted. 3 specifically. Thank you, Deb, for sending us that in writing to confirm what you had that we had. We went back as a team. We readjusted. We gave you the breakdowns, and so I think it's kind of self-explanatory on our behalf, and we have a suggested motion. So we turn it back over to the school committee.
Okay, so does everybody have what's in the packet? I must have somehow deleted or I don't know. Somebody fixed it, but the board docs meeting disappeared for a while and reappeared, and we're not going to worry about it because it was still posted on the Amherst Town website, so it wasn't an issue. But the document should be attached. There's the pieces we asked for, the motions and the increases and decreases in the areas that we asked for. Is there discussion? Sarah?
Yeah, first, some clarity about the motions. So the 3 that we voted, we can't, the first one disagrees with all the others. So are we ignoring the 189,371? Because that's not the total that we see. I mean, in the table below,
Okay.
then top number 189,371 doesn't agree
With increase.
with the items below. So I don't know.
I can explain. So the
Well,
one,
Oh, Shannon, you want to go? I go. So 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 is the first column. When you made the first motion for the 189, you appropriated the additional 189,000 you allocated that the town council reinstated. So you increased the 3.85 by that. And then you, in motion 2, you said specifically where you wanted that money to go. So you had the 189,371, that was the increase from the town council. Motion 2 then told us how to break down that by cost centers, which was the clarification. Then once that was settled, so we wanted to make sure that we showed how we did that. And so that's the first chart. You notice that the second chart now is based on motion 3. So motion 3, which was voted, told us to reallocate that 187,500. So we did the entire budget. We incorporated the 189,371 as outlined by the school committee. And then after that was balanced, we had to reallocate the 187,500 from a combination of those areas. And there was no allocation as was done in motion 2. So we went ahead, we looked, and if you look on the third page, you can see that we detailed out how we came to the 187,500. We went across every line. We wanted to minimize impact to instruction and to school base, as well as to overall operations. And so now the school committee actually has to vote the increasing of those cost centers, and the decrease of the others. And so that's where the proposed motion is.
Deb, can I ask a follow-up?
Of course.
So it looks like there's 2,000, well, not quite $2,000 difference. So is that just, where does the difference between 189,371 and 187,500 end up?
Let me try, Sarah.
Yeah,
So, we increased the overall budget by
Mhm.
189,371.
correct.
Within the existing budget, we moved things around, so there was no increase. They're similar numbers, but they're two different similar numbers. So they're like
Okay.
fraternal twins instead of identical twins. They're
Okay.
just- Yeah.
Thank you.
I think you all did a marvelous job doing what we asked you to do. And if there's, okay, Sarah, yeah.
If you want to have a motion first and then I mean, whatever you like, or I can just ask my other question now.
Go ahead, ask your question.
Okay. I want to know, I want to be sure, as I think I may have mentioned last week, that we aren't solving one problem and creating others. So I have gone back to our budget guidance and our priorities, and I would like to ask the superintendent if these changes to the cost centers to allow for the retention of the positions and the paras and specials, if there's going to be any marked impact on our priorities. So if I could just quickly remind everyone what they were. Support the building of school culture and climate of inclusion to promote student well-being and support mental health resources. Would you say that there's any impact on that?
Can you repeat that for a second, Sarah? Sorry, it's going in and out on my end. I had to fix my
Oh,
connection.
sorry. I'm just going through our budget guidance and the first of our high priority requests of the budget was that it support the building of school culture and climate of inclusion to promote student well-being and to support mental health resources. So is that goal adversely affected by the changes to the budget that we're considering now?
We will have to reduce some of our services. When the team met, what we tried to do was to not impact to find areas that did not impact as much to the schools and to the priorities that were set forth. But how we do training, how we bring in supports, a lot of those things are affected by those lines. We didn't have adequate time to plan and determine. But there will be an impact in terms of reduction of services. We just don't know how that impact will show up.
Okay, if I can go on, our second priority was to ensure the administrative oversight and staffing needed to ensure compliance with anti-bullying and restraint policies throughout the district. Do you foresee any impact on the ability to support that priority?
We did have to reduce professional development. And so we are right now trying to determine how we would be able to prioritize what we bring forward to the schools. We tried not to impact, as you can see, so for example, one line from the superintendent lines was principal supports. So that's any training, consultants. So any training that I was going to bring forward to support things in terms of administration has been reduced, but we're trying again to meet whatever the needs are.
Okay.
So
Next was, I'm sorry?
Can I just jump in? So that's the 2138, Dr. Z, principal support from superintendent line?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, next was to support, we wanted a budget that supports multimodal instruction and project-based learning. Would you say these proposed changes affect that goal?
We had to reduce some curriculum, so we are going to have to figure out what the impact is going to be.
All right, next was continue to offer differentiation in instruction and opportunities for students to work in small groups.
We're not sure the impact of that. Everyone was on the email that I received where the teacher talked about her reduction in classroom supplies. The sad part is we did not have time because of between when we got our directives and now to really critically say what the impact would be. But we wanted to make sure we at least had the staffing to figure this out. So there will be an impact to us achieving the goals.
Okay, the last one I'll mention right now is provide supports for math instruction to raise the level of competency before students reach 7th grade.
We had to reduce our curricular resources. And so we are trying to balance which curricular resources will be impacted. And I can't specifically tell you if we would meet that goal.
Thank you.
Bridget, I see you talking and you're on mute, so I don't know if you were trying to say something.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Bridget.
You're on mute.
Yeah, no, I was saying, where's my thing to raise my hand? No, I get, I think that the reality is that every place we cut from is going to hurt. What I like about this, we're too tight. We don't have the budgets we need, right? What I like about this is it spreads it out. Like you take some from the contingency, some from the curriculum here or there. I did have an idea and I think it's worth working with SOS or other local groups in promoting to get the PGOs to get some classroom curriculum supply funds since teachers are losing some of those. And I know that every teacher gets like $250 tax write-off for their teaching supplies and probably triples that personally before anyone, brings in tissues or sanitizer or anything. So, but what I wanted to say is like, I am a little bit surprised that we hadn't been working on something behind the scenes because I think that FinCom had sent the message for quite a while that they were only going to go to like 189. And our budget was really clear for a long time about what our priorities are. So I understand the exact numbers are hard to get precisely, but I think like that the thinking had to be rushed at the end. I don't know if for anyone who was following the process that they would feel that way. I didn't feel that way. I'd been looking a lot and trying to think where could it come from. And I know other people on the committee did too. And then we're trying to, throw ideas, but thought, okay, you guys are the experts and you know your budget better. So let's put those, those things in front of you. So I just feel like we passed this budget over 2 months ago and our intentions have been clear for a long time. So I don't want to like, you sort of follow that line of thought, but I am worried about those teacher stipends. And I think that's something that would be a good place for a community effort.
So I want to say when you talk about the train of thought, I need it to be clear. The budget that was voted did all of the amounts of the 187 was not like that was in buckets. So we understood how we allocated and was aiming to meet the goals set forth by the school committee. The questions that were just in front of me was, here are the goals. What you're asking us to do outside, because the 189 has nothing to do with the 187. The 189 was an increase from the town council, and that was allocated based on the school committee. Then the school committee said, let's take 187 from the budget that we already set forth, that you increased, and take it from these series of buckets and reallocate it to meet this 5 para educators. And in that time, which happened between about a week and a half ago and today, to be asked how are we going to meet the goals is not the same planning and precision and conversations that we had as a team to do the original budget we weren't able to do, because now we're meeting a 1-week deadline. So to adequately be able to say what that impact would be, it is the truth when I say, hey, I can't say we're going to meet the goals of what the school committee met for, because we didn't have time to analyze. So I think that there's some, and I hope I'm clarifying for you, Bridget, in terms of what is the actual path forward. It's not about what the school committee's intent is. It's about the question that I'm being asked in. Now that we've reallocated 187 out of buckets that we had already placed them in now, that we weren't intending to, we did not have time to analyze if we would meet the goals of what the school committee said they wanted their budget to meet. And I wanted to hand it off to Allison real quick, Deb, if you don't mind.
I think I'd like to jump in here and then I'll call on Allison. I think some of this goes back to a difference of opinion about what the budget was put forward, because I feel like the school committee put forward a different budget than the administration. The one we voted was the one that was discussed at FinCom. And so the difference between the 3.85 and the 5.87 is, I think, what we're discussing, whether or not that budget should have been worked through to look for more operational realignment, I guess, within the 3.85 to support the 5.87.
So I'm unclear, because when you and I met, the conversation was to bring forth the 3.85, which is what we did last week, and then show how we would possibly want to do the 189, which is what we did. And so now, if the request was to work backwards from the 5.87 to decrease backwards, that's not what was clear in terms of the intent of what. So so I guess for me, what we've done here is we've worked as we were asked to from the 3.85. We've followed the 3 motions, and that's what we have in front of us.
Allison?
Hello, thank you. I appreciate the time. I just wanted to find out, are you all voting on each motion separately, or are we speaking to all 3?
Those motions have been voted. And so the directive to the to the administration was to bring forward a budget that aligned with those motions.
Okay.
And that's what we're looking at today.
So I just wanted to make sure you were aware that so I was able to, with Dr. Z's help, I was able to figure out how to um, uh, create space for a library tech para. So that's already been posted, and I will be interviewing for that. I also had one of the specials teachers come to me and say they do not want a para. I think one of the things that's confusing to us is that what the school committee is recommending is not a model that I've ever seen. And so I think when we proposed having specials teachers with a full schedule, that is a model that we have seen. That is something that is typical. And I know that people are worried about the number of children they teach, but I want us to be aware that specials teachers, they'll plan 6 lessons for the course of a week, because remember, they're teaching the same lesson every day to a different group of kids. So whereas a general ed teacher might be planning 30 lessons a week, they're planning fewer lessons. So it's not quite clear. I mean, if you all know of models where specials teachers have paras, we know how the library the library para is used. It's very clearly documented. Other specials, it's just not clear. And if you have a model, you can share that with me and I'm willing to understand it better. But what we recommended was based on what are models that are in practice within the region for specials teachers.
Right, so I have to say that if there was the para position brought forward, we were not made aware of that. So I think we have some communication problems. And I've spent an inordinate amount of time working with town council to get as much information and clarity as I can. Like, so much time that became the bulk of my work over the past 3 months. So, yeah, I didn't spend a lot of time working on an educational model because I was working on trying to support positions that I was directed by the school committee to support. Dr. Z?
I think what happens in the is that there's work that's happening on the school and administration level within the confines of what we have and we're able to do so that we can make things work and have it forward. And if we are not asked the questions, or when we do try to share that information, we're not able to in an adequate way, not because we don't know the information, but because sometimes it's just, for lack of a better word, not listened to. In the way how we present it, perhaps that could have come up. There's also the conversation of working with principals like Allison, like Derek, like Tammy, who sit in the day-to-day of the work and they look at the budget and they're saying, hey, this is how we could use this position, Dr. Z, this is what would actually work. And we as within the district are able to see, okay, if we do this, this would work. This happened in terms of the library tech para and everything in our planning, in terms of reshaping of how things come forward. This has, and so how we end up getting there is it's continuously moving. There's continuous moving parts. And if we're not given opportunity as an administration to clarify what that full plan looks like, but then we're given a directive for all positions, that's kind of where we end up in this debacle where you're saying, I wasn't aware. So two things, I think, Shannon, if you kind of want to expand on when we kind of were able to finalize that we would have a library para, and I believe this was right before the budget vote.
This was
Or
within
after?
the last 2
I'm
weeks that
gonna keep,
Allison
I'm gonna run this in order. I'm sorry, I'm not Dr. Z, I'm running the meeting. You first tried to hand the meeting over to Allison and now Shannon. So I'm gonna go to Bridget and then I'll go to Shannon next. This is, Bridget, you're muted.
So I
muted.
just know that I was at every one of the budget meetings except the ones that I didn't meet. I listened to immediately afterwards, and that we heard from 3 folks. We were really clear. We don't know how we could restore the positions, the full position into the rooms. And like for music, art, etc., that we don't know how we could restore those, that it's a big number and that we didn't know how to get there. And 3 of the people who were, in those roles were like, we could do it with a para, but to do it by ourselves would be intense. It would be too much. It would be too far. And at the same time, we asked for a budget that would restore supports and create a better model for that. On March 30th, even before that, we requested that. So I don't know where, I don't know where it was said or how it could have been communicated. I listened to every word, every question that was asked in all the different budget meetings and how it was going. And the other pieces that I think we lost like a little bit of trust in the process when it turned out that the numbers were far off of what the reality was on the interventionist. And so we heard from, almost every individual themselves in these roles who were Amherst residents at least. And sometimes the reality of what they were saying and the reality of what was being said in the budget meeting wasn't there. So we did the best we could with the information we had, but with the information we had, this is the decision that we voted. It's been voted. I don't think at, 5 days from the fiscal year, we're gonna vote something different at this point. So I just want to say, like, I'm not sure to look backwards and re-argue the backwards pieces aren't necessarily helpful, but to figure out how we make the process next year work in a way that doesn't feel like the school committee's role in leading the budget process, and that the feedback from the schools, and like we both feel like we're listening to each other and hearing each other. I think that's where we have to get to, but that's not a tonight issue.
Sarah?
I very much agree that we should be talking about the future and not the past. So can we just stop rehashing the last few months? We are where we are. Let's move forward.
Sarah, would you like to make a motion?
Sure. Actually, no, I don't.
Okay.
Somebody else can do it.
I move to increase the following cost centers by $120,000 to regular instruction payroll, $30,000 to support services payroll, and $37,500 to health insurance employees, offset by decreases of $22,475 from central administration expenses, $58,802 from contingency dollars, $58,802 from contingency, facilities expenses $1,198, $66,505 from regular education expenses, $10,000 from regular education payroll, $7,520 from school administration expenses, $6,000 from support services expenses, and $15,000 from support services payroll. Do I have a second?
Sorry, I'll second it.
Is there further discussion amongst the committee? Is there any information the administration would like to provide to inform this vote?
I have no information to inform this committee.
Okay. Sarah, how do you vote?
No.
Andrew, how do you vote?
Yes.
Bridget, how do you vote?
Yes.
Deb's a yes. So that it passes. 3 yes, 1 no, 1 absent. Our next order of business is now the relinquish of, is that right?
Yeah.
Is now
Mhm.
relinquish of South Amherst campus. So in one of the conversations, we looked up the property card and found that the South Amherst campus is still listed as being under the control or belonging to, I'm not really sure how that comes about, of the Amherst School District. So if there was a vote, it didn't get recorded. So we're either going to revote it or vote it for the first time. And it is similar to the idea that was put forward about relinquishing Wildwood, that if the school district does not have an educational use for it, we vote to turn it over or back to the town. It has not been used by the Amherst School District in a long time. And in the letter that I did not include in the packet, but I can if people like, that Dr. Z forwarded to me from the assistant town manager, he said that the town has been paying for operating costs of that building. And recent memory and new requests that we vote to relinquish it to the town. Is there any discussion, Sarah?
Yeah, any reason not to relinquish this one immediately? Don't want to. I mean, we are not using it at all. We're not storing anything there. We're not, I mean, I'm asking, so
Well, we thought we had relinquished it,
we
so.
thought, we already
And
weren't
we
using
may
it.
have, so I don't see any reason to.
Then I will move that we relinquish the South Amherst, oh gosh, what's the proper name of it? South Amherst
Campus school, that's what I
Campus
got off,
School.
that's what I
Okay.
got off the letter, so.
Okay,
I could,
Do you have an
Thinking,
effective date?
effective immediately.
Okay. Is there any discussion? So Sarah moved, Bridget seconded. Sarah, how do you vote?
Aye.
Andrew?
Visit vote.gov to begin the voter registration
Yes.
process. Select
vote yes.
Bridget?
yes.
That's a yes. Do we have no, that's 4 yes, 1 absent, the motion passes. Okay, so the next item is a recommended action that Sarah actually brought to me, just keeping in mind that CPAC or the committee takes up its recommendations in the fall. And we've been encouraged by the town council to request CPAC funds. It's a perfect use of them. Sarah was chair for many years of the CPAC committee. How do you say it? CPA.
Well, yeah, can I?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we call it CPAC, but the school has its own different CPAC. So this is the Community Preservation Act Committee. And if you would like me to, I can say a little bit about what that is.
Yeah,
and
that'd be
why.
nice. Thank you.
Okay, so the Community Preservation Act is a law passed by the state, like 35 years ago at least, and the town of Amherst voted long ago to participate, which means there is a surcharge on our property tax bills that goes into a fund that then can be used to fund projects in 3 specific areas in the town. One is community housing projects, or to support historic preservation, and the other is open space or recreation projects. You all may remember that our regional towns, all of which participate in that CPAC, voted to contribute some funds to the track and fields project. So that's an example of using CPA funds under the recreation heading for a school. So Crocker Farm in the past, some years ago when I was still on the committee, I think has been asking several times over the years for funds to redesign playgrounds. It kind of keeps coming up. There are a variety of playgrounds. In any case, they did receive some funds to start a design study. And then this Amherst district's capital plan that went to JCPC included a request for funds for the Crocker Farm playground, accessible playground. That was rejected. That was not recommended. In fact, JCPC said, please ask CPA for funds because it's eligible under that category of recreation. So, because as Deb said, the application cycle is like the month of September or early in the fall, I recommend that we be ready to submit an application at that time. And in the past, those have largely, or maybe entirely, been done by the administration. And they would just kind of come to committee for approval, request to submit. But I don't know that either Shannon or Dr. Z or maybe even our facilities director is very familiar with this process. So that's why I wanted to bring it forward and kick it off this way. So that's all I have to say.
I raised my hand because I just wanted to clarify, Sarah, I believe with CPA funds, there's a non-supplanting clause. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that is true.
So could you explain that a little bit, please?
Yes, you can't ask for funds to pay for something you've already budgeted or contracted to do. Okay, but I don't believe the schools have any such contract for a new playground or a renovated playground. So it wouldn't be supplanting.
So the,
I'm sorry?
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I would also say that some projects or some applicants come several times to CPA to ask for multiple awards because they know it'll cost more than what they're asking for this year. And you can accumulate awards for some reasonable period of time before you spend it. So even if we're not ready in the next, like to use the funds immediately, if we have them, if we're awarded them, then we know that much of a project is funded and we can go about trying to find additional funds or whatever. So it's a start.
So JCPC uses a fraction of the revenue from property taxes for the entire capital plan for the year or many years for the entire town, all the departments within. And so the idea would be as much money that any particular department can reasonably apply for and perhaps obtain from CPA takes the pressure off of that particular bucket of the operating, and with the hope that for
Yes.
whatever we are able to get from CPA for this project, the capital improvement plan or JCPC would allocate whatever else is necessary to complete the project, but we can't do it the other way around.
And clearly, or they've made, sounds like they're not going to say yes to us until we've at least tried
Yeah.
to get CPA funds. So we need to do that, in my opinion.
And we've been urged to use the town resources to facilitate our application or to help us fill out the application. So they're ready and willing to help us.
Meaning people. You mean people?
People, yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
I think it was Dave said, the email that I read definitely said,
Uh-huh.
please reach out to town
Okay.
staff to help with the application for CPA.
Mhm.
Bridget?
Yeah, I would just say I was on JCPC and I heard a little bit about really just the importance of the project as a whole. You know, our retaining wall has some issues. There's a structure that needs to come down, and then there's students who, you know, aren't able to use things and need to be able to access them. So it's just a really important project overall. JCPC funds are shrinking as we have more repayments to make on the library, etc., over town. And so just strategically thinking about the bucket of funds, JCPC was enthusiastic about this project. It wasn't that. It was just thinking that to get it's because CPAC is specifically for outdoor recreation, it has a much smaller scope than all the capital projects that JCPC has. So it's just the right place, and I'm fully in support. And thank you, Sarah, for bringing this forward, and Deb for doing the work. I'm excited that we're voting to do this.
The chair of JCPC and Finance Committee, Kathy Shane, encouraged me to recognize that we are already putting in a new playground and that we might be able to piggyback on some of what they've learned or knowledge, or there's an ability to use the knowledge developed in the planning of Amethyst Brook Playground possibly to facilitate this project. So I wanted to mention that. So, I guess there's an action. I don't feel like we have to vote it, but I do feel like, as in the past, it's become clear, especially with the middle school roof project, that it's best for us to request of the administration to reach out to the town when these kinds of cross committee or cross bodies issues come up, rather than it coming from the town to our admin. Sarah?
Can I ask that we at least be sure we have consensus for the members who are here to?
Yeah.
And if you could read the recommended action and, yeah, just,
We can vote it.
Okay.
So it just says the committee urges the, Sarah, you wrote it. You read it.
okay. The committee urges the administration to submit a funding request this fall to the Amherst Community Preservation Act Committee under the open space/recreation category for a significant portion of the likely cost of replacing or renovating the Crocker Farm playground.
And do you want to make that a motion or just? a
Sure.
statement? Okay.
Second.
So, moved by Sarah, seconded by Bridget. Is there any further discussion?
Can I just ask whether any of the administrators present have any questions about like what this is or?
I would just say, I think if, sorry, if there's a prior application that somebody has or could send, so I could get an idea of what's expected, I think that would be helpful.
Deb, I think you attached one to the
The
agenda.
prior application, there's the funding memo recommending doing this. I can take a look, but one of those documents might actually do it.
Right.
It's been a while. Any other questions or comments? Derek?
Oh, Derek.
Hi Sarah, how are you? Hi everyone.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you to Sarah for thinking of us in this way and for making this, I guess, a proposal or suggestion. I would be very happy to work with Dr. Herman and Shannon and anyone else over the summer period, you know, while I'm still here working. Crocker Farm definitely deserves some enhanced playground stuff. So thank you very much, Sarah, for bringing this up.
My pleasure, and I'm so glad to hear that you'll still be around for a while.
Definitely in the summer for sure. Thank you.
Okay, excellent.
I do believe in the document I read, there was a suggestion that Derek's expertise, that your expertise be tapped. So thank you, Derek, for volunteering.
Thank you.
Any other input? Okay, Andrew, how do you vote?
Yes, and thank you, Sarah.
Deb's a yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes, enthusiastically.
All right, so passes 4 yeses and 1 absent. And now we're moving on to another Sarah. It's a Sarah
Sarah show.
Sarah show today.
All right, this is just to inform the committee about an idea I had, and that I already have had one conversation with Deb and Dr. Z about a few weeks ago. This idea that arose from the State of the District Summit that was maybe 6 weeks ago, and all the participants were asked to commit to doing one thing with their board or committee, wherever they were serving, that would advance some of the goals or address concerns that came up at the meeting. And there was a lot of attention paid to and concern about the academic gaps between our student subgroups in the elementary and also upper grades. But for us, the elementary school, that's not new to us, and I know we're all concerned. So my idea that I committed to bringing was, is it possible to develop a program by which volunteers from the community can tutor our elementary kids in reading or math, whatever, just to help them get up to, help them. Something not exactly homework help, maybe, because some kids are so far behind, but that's really as far as the thinking went. So Dr. Z and Deb and I had a conversation about it. I won't summarize what Dr. Z said since she's here, can speak for herself. I'm not sure what the next steps might be, but Deb, I return the floor to you.
Dr. Z, would you like to contribute your thoughts on this topic?
I am in support of this. And thank you, Sarah, for actually, trying to bring something to fruition to support the schools. I think there's some more fleshing out that we need to do, but it is a great opportunity for us to start and to support our most marginalized set of learners. We've seen that over the past several years, especially our students who are English language learners have not grown. They're actually flatlined. And so this is critical. There are other groups that we are not adequately serving. And so I am in support of this once we've figured out how we would form it. And then one part I liked about Sarah's idea was actually trying to bring in community volunteers. Bring in whether we reach out to UMass students or different individuals and, finding a way to kind of hone down and pin down that so that we can support our students in their academic growth. So thank you, Sarah, for this.
Sure. Deb, can I add something?
Yeah.
One idea I recall that Dr. Z voiced was that something like this could maybe most easily be piloted at Chestnut Street Academy, because if it's an after-school program, there is a late bus there, because there's the whole transportation question that would be much more easily resolved if we started with sixth grade. So I thought that made a lot of sense. But frankly, I don't know where this idea goes now or who's going to do what, or if the committee has some further role or how we should proceed. So I have done what I said I would do and brought that idea to the committee.
Bridget?
So I'm really interested in and very much like this idea. I think that some of the steps I think would be like mapping what there is and then where there's a gap, because there are different programs that are linking, and then who the potential partners would be, whether you're going to work with College of Ed or civic engagement and civic learning or specific groups that are similarly focused at Amherst College. I did want to just offer two things or two areas that I'd be willing to help. The first is that I've worked on and received before the out of school time grants. So I know how those work at the state and they can help fund some of it. And the second is my brother's on the board of Homework Help. So Homework House in Holyoke. So I always attend their fundraisers and have had just some terrific discussions with some of the leadership there about how they organize their program, which is basically this idea of after school programming. And so willing to just make connections wherever it's helpful and pitch in on any writing or anything that needs to be done if needed. So, but yeah, in support, maybe I'm not sure exactly how to go forward with next steps, or if there's someone in the administration, whether it falls more under Marta or Tanya, or how it works from there. But I'm happy to be part of something if a small working group or something was formed.
So I wanted to know what time the late bus ran. Dr. Z or Shannon?
I would have to get that information for you.
Okay. And then, so we're at the brainstorming stage. I think, Sarah, when you originally brought it forward, you said you'd be willing to kind of, if the committee were interested, move forward perhaps with somebody to work with on the committee. Is that still how you're
Sure.
thinking about this?
Sure. You want to appoint two people to be in
I-
touch with the administration about this?
Sarah, would you like to be one of these people?
Sure.
Is there somebody else who'd like to be involved? Marta?
I just wanted to share that we've done these kinds of activities and support and outreach for families that were under our caseload in the family center. The fact that, this would start with Chestnut Street Academy students would make sense. And also, in addition to most of the EL students who would fall under the needs for more support, are also of Latino descent. And I know that we're doing an extra effort to address that. So I'm more than happy to partner to facilitate, given, there has to be trust from families and all of that. And we certainly can help with that.
Dr. Z, would you like to appoint Marta to be the contact person between this small working group and your administration, or would you prefer that it continue to go through you?
I think Marta, and I think there's other individuals on the team. So I have no issues with going back to the entire team and having them decide who all, because in speaking to Sarah, one of the things she wanted us to focus on was like the academic components, and how we are going to kind of track that data to increase, like, it was clear from the conversation with her, like this is an idea to move certain data points forward for our students. So and Marta is a critical conduit for that information. And then there's other individuals who would also need to be in the conversation.
Okay, so yes,
Can I
sir.
ask if Bridget would be willing? Since it sounds like we're going to be asking her lots of questions.
Yeah, no, I'd be willing to do it for sure.
Okay, so unless we make it a group that has to convene the Amherst School Committee at every time you meet, it's the two of you, and you'll reach out to Dr. Z for next steps, and they'll make their team work with your
Great.
team.
Thank
Go
you.
teams.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Marta.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that's the end. We have future agenda planning. We will be having a meeting next Tuesday. William sent me the plan for, we're going to be meeting the committees sequentially, starting with a joint meeting of all the three committees no, that's wrong. Huh.
First column, then all
Columns
three.
first.
Oh, it came out already? Everybody knows. All
Yeah,
right.
they're all posted.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ours is not posted.
yeah, I have to do that. Okay. So we have, so we will have that meeting. I know there's a motion that we talked about at the last meeting that we have to revote to align with the new JKAA. So that's one of the ones that is on the agenda. Obviously, the superintendent evaluation composite will be brought forward, and we will be discussing and voting that. Are there other agenda items?
Well, we should consider whether this committee wants a retreat maybe, or maybe we'd work that out with the region or have a one big joint thing. I don't know.
Bridget?
I'm in support of a retreat, but I think maybe it is good for Amherst to have its time separate from the region.
Okay. So how does one do this? Do you just put a retreat on the calendar, or do you poll people, Sarah?
Well, it's a public meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, but we'll have to have an agenda but we're discussing right now what to discuss next week. So why don't we discuss it next week?
So the retreat planning will be an agenda item.
Right. And maybe it's to appoint a committee to plan it. A subcommittee to plan it.
cool.
I don't know. It depends
Okay,
how long a
okay.
meeting we want.
All right. All right. So if you have anything else, I will probably post either this evening because it's it's getting short, but I can always add something. Well, no, it doesn't
No,
matter
you
because
can't.
it's past hours. So anyway, so I will be posting our last meeting of the year, except for maybe that retreat.
I think there's one more warrant if you want to have another, have more, I mean,
One
or
more
not.
what?
Warrant. I
Oh
can,
yeah, warrant.
it
Okay.
might be more by then, I don't know.
Oh, and maybe some minutes. Andrew's gotten us up to speed, up to the 19th. Sarah, you were right. The 29th was a meeting, so April 29th was a meeting. So there's one outstanding old meeting and then the meeting on the 16th and today's. So perhaps we'll have those, at least there's some drafts
Mhm.
that are on the shared Google Drive that people can take a look at, and I can post them, so minutes as well. Oh, and Laura Jane has joined us just in time for agenda planning.
Sorry to be late. I apologize.
Yes, well, we all have actual other lives outside of this, don't we? All right. So Laura Jane, we have some agenda items I think I should post first thing tomorrow morning for the 30th. And then aside from that, I think we're ready to adjourn.
My timing is perfect as always.
Yay. So I move we adjourn.
Second,
Who's the second?
Sarah.
Sarah? Laura Jane?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes. Shortest meeting I've ever been to.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb's a yes. Andrew? We are adjourned at 6:59. I think it is the shortest meeting you've ever been to.
Right.
All
That's
right.
all I've ever been
Thanks,
to.
everyone.